So let's take a little bit of a different direction then. So let's talk about more of what 5G actually is in terms of the technology behind it and the radiation and the different frequencies. So let's start with the differences then between 4G and 5G. So where does 4G fit into this?
Okay, well, everything up to and including 4G is what they call isotropic. It's similar to your TV or your radio signals. It spreads out from a center. Imagine my head, because it happens to be in the camera as the top of a mast. So it spreads out from all directions like in a sphere. Imagine dropping a stone in a still pond. You see those waves. It's a bit like that, but of course,
omnipresence kind of thing.
Yeah, it's in 3 dimensions and it's beaming out like that, and it is omnipresent. Yeah, if the device is switched on, then it's going out. We're always covered in radio and TV signals. These are quite low frequencies, and with 3G and 4G, those frequencies, the possibility of those frequencies went a little bit higher. I'm not sure what the limit of 4G is, but I think it's probably around about 5 gigahertz. Okay, so that's, if you like, the getting into what they call the mid-band, or they call in the mid-band at the moment. Now, 5G, there are several differences between that and what we're getting in 5G. 5G will cover the whole range of frequencies, including those low ones that 3G and 4G are using, right up, we're told, to 300 gigahertz. Okay, now you can't even imagine that. At the moment, most of what we're seeing at the moment is 2.4 gigahertz. Okay, which is 2,400.
Ask the question, Ian, why is that significant? Because for most people, they don't think
I'm just getting there. Yeah. And what we are being told is that the 5G is millimeter waves. That only starts around about 23 gigahertz, and they're telling us that it's fast. It's very quick response time. But it's blocked easily, and it won't go that far, which is basically true. We can argue about the distance that it will go, because what Nokia says on their website and what our councils tell us are two completely different things. At the lower frequencies, it will still go many, many miles. And again, I can give you a reference to a document from the telecom company that says exactly that. Okay, so Nokia actually puts it this way. They say, with the lower frequencies, we can service thousands of customers within hundreds of square miles with one 5G tower at these low to mid-band frequencies. Okay, higher up the spectrum, they won't go so far, because the waves are much, much smaller when you get up to those 20 gigahertz. So that's it. At the low frequencies, the wavelength is quite long, but as it goes up, the wavelength shortens. And at one point, when it gets to that millimeter level, one scientist, Ben Ishai in Israel, has said when the frequencies are about the same length as our sweat glands, the sweat glands will act as antennas, as aerials, and pull the radiation further into the body. Okay, this is a physicist saying that, and he did confess. He said, "I'm a physicist and not a biologist, so I don't understand what the effect is going to be, but I can say, from our research, that is what is happening." So that's, again, one of the reasons for it. The other difference, the other big difference between 4G and 5G is 5G is not isotropic. It doesn't radiate out in all angles. It's created into what they call collimated beams. Now, these are parallel beams, and they use very clever software technology to make some of the waves being out of phase and some of them in phase. don't ask me to. I don't understand it. I get the technology from good people that I know who are still working in those hardware, software areas of technology. I'm not anymore. So it aims a beam out, and that beam. So you will have, if you've got, in theory, your phone here, and you are genuinely using a 5G signal, that would be a beam straight onto your phone. I'm talking theoretically now, okay? That's the big difference. So when you see an antenna on the top of a mast, that they are also steerable. The box is stable; it's there, but the actual antennas themselves, the beams themselves, are steerable. Yeah, so it can point to your phone or next door neighbor's phone or wherever, and it is about mobile technology. The president of Huawei is quite famous for having said, 5G is not broadband. You want broadband. Now, the way they're selling it at the moment is saying, well, it's so fast and so wonderful, and so that we can give you broadband with that mobile system. Now, whether they can now or whether we're talking of the future, because as I say, I was reading some 6G papers this morning, and it's very uncertain exactly where they are. The hype that we were sold 5 years ago is still hype. How much 5G is actually active in this country, I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I was told, I can't remember how many years ago this was now. It wasn't that long ago. So when we started to see more marketing around 5G, and it was the phone networks that were pushing it, was he was on the telly saying 5G.
Yeah.
Somebody said, and it was a reliable source, that it's not actually 5G. It was just the marketing. They changed the name of it. That's all they did. It wasn't actual 5G. It was still 4G, but they were just preparing, for 5G. So I don't actually know if 5G actually is. I don't think it is.
I think I sometimes say, when you see some people see 5G on their phone, well, sometimes. I mean that might be 5G, but it could also, you can use any trick. You can put anything up there. Put a little bunny rabbit's head up there. That's just a symbol on your phone saying, I recognize something, and I'm going to tell you it's 5G, whether it is or not. And I've heard similar things to what your friend has said, but and I've also heard that handheld devices are not safe to be beaming 5G straight at. Now, again, I have no idea whether that's true or not, Reese, but it's something that I've heard by fairly reliable sources. But I
just can't handle the power of it or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, or the battery. And when they were marketing 5G phones in the early days, I've seen somebody take one apart, and where it's supposed to have a 5G chip, there was no chip in it. So I don't know what's happening. I have to say that, I really don't, with big capitals, know. I can have all sorts of suspicions, and I can talk to all sorts of different people around the place, and get different answers, but there's a little bit of consistency in there. And if you read papers, that the industry is now coming up and saying, well, the hype isn't quite what it, the actuality isn't quite what the hype is yet. We hope it's going to be like that, but we're not really sure. They're still talking about 2030. Ericsson is saying, that they want to virtualize all aspects of life. And that was in a paper about 6G, and that they wanted to have us talking with intelligent machines and the like. Clark Telecom, the UK.
Preparation, Ian, for something a bit more greater than just being able to download something on your phone a lot faster.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually just about to say that, because Clark Telecom, I mentioned earlier that the masts need planning applications. Clark Telecom in their planning applications, we spotted this several months ago now, maybe 6 months or more ago. It actually said 5G. It says 5G is connected to the smart city agenda. Those exact words. That's a quote. I've said it so many times that I don't need to check that my quote is accurate. And again, I can give you references. I wouldn't say it if I could not give you a reference. Okay. And they go on to say that this 5G is basic technology. So get that. This is the basic technology, what they're rolling out at the moment. But that phrase, 5G is connected to the smart city agenda, I thought that last word was very interesting. So here's the mobile telephone company saying there's an agenda here. You know, they've not told me it's an agenda. If they'd finished up the city is connected to the smart city, I think it would have been a completely different meaning in that sentence. You know, this is where the pedant in me, if you like, comes out, reading these little words that are so easy to skip over, and yet to me they are really, really important. The fact that it said in the next sentence, 5G is the basic technology. Again, that was an important phrase to me. What on earth are they planning? And yes, you're right. They're planning things like robotics. You know, we've seen the growth of or the marketing on artificial intelligence, AI, and also IA, augmented, AI, augmented intelligence. They are both being marketed again in the same way that 5G was being marketed. So yes, we are facing this society where that I will have a digital twin, and I won't do. I won't do. Absolutely. I think I absolutely, Reece, you're spot on there. Digital ID is absolutely crucial. That's why it's been pushed over and over again. That's the core, because that's going to be the representation in the digital world of you, of me, and everything's going to be linked to that. It's going to be all pervasive, everything, and I mean, I can only speculate, but it's not a world I want to live in. I want to be able to go out and dig my garden, not dig a virtual garden.
Yeah, and that's exactly why they need that higher frequency band, isn't it? The faster download speed, because that's you've got millions upon millions of people connected to a network. That's trillions of bits of data.
Oh, absolutely.
You need to be able to download and compute all of that data.
Yeah.
That's why they need higher frequencies.
Yes. Yeah. It is. We've got to. Everything, once you've got the Internet of Things, on one of these 6G papers, I was reading about the Internet of Senses. I don't know. Yeah, you're looking puzzled. I've no idea. They're going to give us all smells and touch and so on through the internet. I've no idea at the moment what exactly what that might mean. And it's like reading a paper on absolute zero as opposed to net zero. I just don't understand what people. I understand each word individually, but when they're linked together in a sentence or a paragraph or even a phrase, you start wondering, well, what does that actually mean? It's almost like, I hate to reference 1984 again, but Newspeak in Orwell's book. But we don't know what they're meaning. So yeah,